Texas is facing a crisis never seen before. Across the state, water is growing scarce. Meanwhile, the climate is changing. Millions of people are moving here, and industries that need water to thrive are planting roots. KXAN, in partnership with political website The Hill, is taking a closer look at how these issues are impacting your life. Welcome to our special report, Dried Up. I'm meteorologist David Yeomans. We'll start our exploration of the water crisis by visiting some of the state's popular watering holes that are now facing extinction. First up, the state's best-kept secrets. The Roy Creek Canyon Reserve in Hays County is called one of the last untouched waterways in the state. For more than a year, the owner of the reserve and a new environmentally friendly development have been battling over its future. Eric Henriksen visited the canyon this month to learn how the ongoing drought is affecting it and why the landowner is worried it could soon be permanently dried up.
It's been 6 months since we last visited Roy Creek Canyon.
It's significantly changed. You can see the water level has fallen several feet. There's two beautiful waterfalls that run here regularly, and they're not flowing at all. There's a little tiny trickle, and that's probably the only thing keeping the water level as it is.
Lou Adams' family has owned the Roy Creek Canyon Reserve for 80 years.
I can really remember back to the 50s when we had, probably the most severe drought on record. And it was even lower than this. It was somewhat like this in 2011.
However, Lou is more concerned about recent filings by Mirasol Capital, the group working to build a 1,400-acre development called Mirasol Springs on the land surrounding the reserve.
What is most concerning to us, looking at the Mirasol development, is the amount of groundwater they're talking about pulling from the aquifer.
In filings obtained by KXAN, Mirasol Springs plans to build 5 new groundwater wells, each of which will tap into the same aquifer, the Middle Trinity, that feeds the springs at Roy Creek Canyon.
It's 90% fed by springs. The sustainability, it depends on the springs.
Roy Creek, it's really a fairly small, confined spring shed. You've got all the water flowing to that spring.
Hydrologist Doug Weirman has studied the Middle Trinity Aquifer extensively. He served on the board of the Hays Trinity Groundwater Conservation District from 2004 to 2010.
We know enough about the configuration of the aquifers that pumping groundwater will have an impact on the springs.
The wells have always been part of the plan for Mirasol Springs, and building private wells will not be allowed.
What Mirasol decides to do, what they determine to do, will have a severe effect not only on this canyon, but could have effects on the neighbors and the watershed that they depend on.
In Hays County, Eric Henriksen, KXAN News.
The ways that we use water are not always obvious. For instance, new data reveals that Williamson County has more rock crushing operations than any other Central Texas county. Homeowners in Liberty Hill say that worries them, especially since a proposed rock crushing company is trying to operate near their homes. KXAN investigator Arzo Dost explains there is a big push for oversight and why the operation needs a ton of water.
We're surrounded by wells, and there's no city water lines in my part of the county.
We first met Travis Redding and Keith Elliston a few weeks ago, along with more than 70 other Liberty Hill homeowners. They shared concerns about Wilco Aggregates filing an application with the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality for an air quality permit to operate on a ranch near their homes.
For us, it's just having the supply, and it's industries going in unregulated, drawing out unlimited amounts of water that is the biggest risk for us.
The families get their water from the Trinity Aquifer. They say they worry the amount used by Wilco Aggregates could lead to water shortages. Williamson County says it has no regulatory authority over this type of operation. The homeowners say they believe that lack of oversight is drawing more of these businesses to the county. TCEQ data shows Williamson County has 29 active rock crushers, more than any other nearby county.
It's not surprising to me. I would like to say this, though. I understand the concern of our residents, and I wish by law, we don't have the authority, but I wish by law that county could have an input on where these crushers go.
Williamson County Judge Bill Gravel says the focus should be on conservation of water. He says the county is exploring additional water resources. Homeowners say they think the problem is that the county has no groundwater conservation district, which regulates the spacing and production of water wells. They say having one would provide oversight on how these operations manage groundwater.
And I think to have a conversation about how we need to be good stewards of water is something we need to have. But I also would ask those same residents, do you understand that the groundwater conservation district you want to create is another taxing authority? And are you ready to pay higher property tax than you currently pay?
Wilco Aggregate says most of the water used will come from ponds on the property and a well drilled to help limit dust, especially during dry periods. The owner says on a similar operation, about 50,000 gallons of water a day is used. He declined an interview, but in an email says the reason why operations like his are coming to the county is because of growth.
My fear is that that our generation is the one that's gonna be the one that sees the aquifer go dry, and then when my children are grown, there's just no available water out here. They will be inheriting worthless land.
Ars of Dost, KXAN investigates.
Joining us in studio this afternoon is Saul Elbine with The Hill. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
All right, let's just start with giving us a general prognosis, really, of the state's infrastructure as it relates to water. What trajectory are we on?
Texas has a great water planning process. We had a bad drought in the 90s, and it scared everyone so much that they created a process where everybody in the state, from the bottom to the top, has to be in constant communication about where the water is going to come from. That works really well, but it's based on an assumption that's no longer true, and that's that Texas weather is just weird, not extremely weird. The state system relies on the state to give smaller municipalities that don't have the resources of an Austin or a Dallas the computational firepower to know what the population's likely to be, to say, we know what these resources are, let's make sure they meet. We're very good at that, but the one thing we are not doing is trying to change that portrayal against a future that is ever more unstable.
Some state agencies do not use climate change in their planning going forward. What have you guys found in your reporting in terms of planning for climate change for these infrastructure water issues?
Right, so the Texas Water Development Board, which is the agency that oversees the entire process of water planning to make sure that there aren't too many conflicting uses, that everybody has enough water, they build their assumptions around the idea that fundamentally the future is going to be like the past. And I don't want to rag on them for this. Like, it's a very hard thing to do. Leaving aside all of the political headwinds in a state like ours, leaving all of that aside, it's really hard to go from even a pretty good statewide portrayal, a statewide average, to what you can use on the ground. I mean, how do you know if you should build that reservoir? So what that's meant for a city like Austin is we did it ourselves. They created a plan, and they took it to a whole lot of stakeholders, and they got a plan that sort of represents Austin and reflects Austin. And that includes, you know, they're looking at big, long-term, generational things like finding a spot in the hill country potentially, or the Trinity Aquifer, where we can start injecting our own excess water, either from big rain events or just from our normal allotments by saving more, sort of create our own water source, moving ourselves from a situation where we're entirely always dependent on the Colorado and to a lesser extent the Edwards. Shorter term, they're looking at all sorts of reuse and recovery recycling, where, for example, just to take one, in 2024, big developments are going to have to start collecting their own wastewater on hand, treating it and using it for non-drinking purposes, from fountains to watering to flushing toilets. But here's the thing, like, Austin can do that, Houston can do that, Dallas can do that.
And what do those smaller cities do? Because they don't have the resources, and typically they are impacted the most by failing water infrastructure. So what solutions are on the table for them?
Well, actually, I'm glad you asked that, because there are a couple of great examples in Texas that we uncovered. In the really bad drought in 2015, Wichita Falls switched to a sewage recycling system where they actually, their wastewater, they created a very good system, made sure it was clean, but they cycled it from wastewater back through treatment, back into the tap. They only did that as long as the drought lasted. Eventually they were able to switch back to an indirect system. But in Big Spring, they still do that. And I mean, that's sort of the price of living in someplace that dry. The more of it that we're willing to do, the more we can save. The more we can save, the more we can store. The more we can store, the longer it is meaningfully sustainable to live in a place like this. And that's the thing we have to remember. Climate change is a thing that makes disasters worse, but a disaster is always the confrontation between a thing that is happening, a group of people, and how prepared they are. If we're prepared, and we can be more prepared, then whatever happens we'll still have to deal with. Something could still overwhelm us, but we'll be in a better position. When the Sunset Commission met in July to see what the Texas Water Development Board would need to do for its next iteration, they told it, and this was a majority Republican panel, there were 2 Democrats on it, unanimously they voted they have to consult the state climatologist. Now what will they do with that information? Will they listen? Will they drag their feet? We don't know. And I think it'll be very varied across a lot of agencies. But for a lot of water managers now, it's if going and talking to the state climatologist or being part of at least a chain of conversations in which he is involved, that's now part of their job. Right. Which also means, you know, as Nathan Johnson, state senator from Dallas, told me, it gives them political cover.
Just ahead, we'll explore how people moving to Texas are having an impact on the future of Texas water, why some experts say we're approaching a tipping point. Welcome back to this special presentation, Dried Up. Across the state, water supplies are dwindling. One of the main reasons, builders in a desperate race to keep up with the growing demand for housing. How are these new developments impacting Texas aquifers? Eric Henriksen takes a closer look at the mad dash to drill for water and how we could be approaching a point of no return.
In the 1950s, our drought of record in Texas, we had about 800,000 people in the Texas Hill Country. Today, that number is closer to 3 million.
Catherine Romans has been closely monitoring the immense growth in the Hill Country. She says that the area is home to 3 of the 5 fastest growing counties in the country.
And inevitably, those folks are bringing more demand for water resources.
With the explosive growth, the wells right now, and wells that they're monitored by the groundwater district there, are at the lowest point that I've ever seen.
Hydrologist Doug Weirman says when developments need water, they must first file a permit with a local groundwater conservation district.
Groundwater conservation districts are our primary vehicle for keeping count of new domestic wells as well as permitted commercial or development wells.
Doug says districts can permit a development to draw as much water as they want, but they must be able to justify the amount.
They have to show the water is available, do the aquifer pump test.
But aquifers are having a harder time refilling.
If you're covering up the aquifer surface with roads and rooftops, you're taking away that area for infiltration.
Aquifers where water is stored can refill, but each one does so differently.
The Edwards aquifer is very karstic, very porous. It fills up quickly. The Trinity aquifer is slower. The Ogallala up in the Panhandle, it basically doesn't recharge. And they're pumping water and they're just basically going to pump it dry.
Catherine says she worries that many developers don't realize the impact they're having on Texas water.
Is there a point of no return with these developments?
Absolutely. I wake up in the middle of the night worrying about the Hill Country increasingly inching towards that tipping point where we may not realize it for several years down the line, but where our demand for water resources has outpaced the ability of our aquifers and rivers to replenish themselves.
There are many ways developments are causing water supplies to dwindle, from installing new drinking wells to irrigating landscaping at new golf courses. The city of Dripping Springs says it started trucking in treated wastewater this month for the new Driftwood Golf and Ranch Club. But that only covers part of what the facility needs, and they're still allowed to use hundreds of thousands of gallons of drinking water to water the rest. That's the same drinking water shared by thousands of other neighbors in western Travis County and parts of Dripping Springs, the same area that's facing a water supply tipping point. Tahara Rahman found out this agreement has been in place for quite some time.
The waters of Lake Austin, precious to so many for so many reasons. It's a place to cool off and a source of drinking water for 60,000 people and businesses in western Travis County and Dripping Springs, including the new 800-acre Driftwood Golf and Ranch Club. We found out that the facility has been using drinking water to irrigate its golf course since 2020.
Total that we have billed and registered is 190 million gallons of water for the past 2 years.
The West Travis County Public Utility Agency says the course is their single biggest user of water. The city of Dripping Springs says the plan was to use treated wastewater for the golf course, but they blame a lawsuit from the Save Our Springs Alliance for not being able to do that.
This was the first time we'd seen it in writing that they were, blaming us for having to we might consider wasting treated drinking water on watering a golf course.
The Alliance says their lawsuit only stops the city from dumping their discharge into Onion Creek, and they say there's nothing legally blocking the city from using that treated wastewater on the golf course.
They just have been sitting on their hands and not building the pipes that would allow them to deliver that treated wastewater to the golf course.
Even though the city insists the Alliance's actions, quote, without question have affected their ability to expand wastewater treatment, they also admit to us their contract with the golf course has always included providing them with drinking water for at least some period of time. The Public Utility Agency says that contract allows up to 1 million gallons a day for 10 years, or until the city of Dripping Springs can provide the course with 100% of treated wastewater, whichever is sooner.
Do you see how people, neighbors in Dripping Springs might be concerned about this water usage, and what would you tell them?
They're permitted for it. We are monitoring their usage.
And the agency says there's no rule banning that use of this drinking water. Tahira Rahman, KXAN News.
We've been in touch with the Driftwood Golf and Ranch Club. It says it's been paying close attention to drought conditions and working with the Public Utility Agency to drop their daily water use by more than 40%. We also checked in with the city of Austin. It uses treated wastewater to water all of its golf courses, also cutting back during drought. As water supplies dwindle, Texas ranchers are feeling the heat. Next up, why whole herds of cattle are being sold. Welcome back to this special presentation of Dried Up. I'm meteorologist David Yeomans. A water crisis is causing havoc across the state, and now it's impacting a Texas icon. Many ranchers are being forced to sell livestock early, dropping cattle herd inventory statewide, all because of a lack of water and feed. Rochelle Hamilton Jr. takes a closer look at the impact their actions are having in the grocery store.
By now, you've heard all about how the area's ongoing drought is affecting beef prices at the grocery store. But there's another aspect driving those high prices: shrinking cattle inventory.
So one of the things that it's important for consumers and producers to recognize is where we are in the current cattle cycle. And we're on the downward slope of the cattle cycle.
It's a supply and demand problem, meaning higher prices for the near future.
As we reduce inventory, while we are potentially marketing cattle off of pasture-based operations because of the lack of forage resources, what that translates to is less calves on down the road and potentially a lighter supply of beef.
According to the USDA, the U.S. beef cattle herd was a little more than 30 million head in January, down 2% compared to 2021. The estimated Texas cattle inventory was 5.1 million, a 3% reduction from 2020. The biggest reason for shrinking cattle inventory, ranchers are marketing their cattle earlier than normal because of the high cost of maintaining them at the ranch.
Producers have to start making choices of, is it worth it to continue to feed the cattle on these high prices, or do I need to cut back to just the most efficient cattle that I've got?
So why is this happening? No rain, no forage, which means
they become even more expensive, and so that adds an additional challenge onto our ranchers.
Without forage, that means they have to buy feed, which is even more expensive.
From March of 21 until March of 22, this spring, our cost of feed delivered into the bunk went up 100%. It doubled.
Or the cattle must be marketed to alleviate cost.
Sold for salvage value. That's mostly old cows, bulls.
1 year of drought setting us up for years of higher prices.
The calf crop that we raised last year is the beef we're eating this year. So everything's a delayed effect. We're going to decrease beef production by about 5% going into 23, and then it'll continue to decrease on into 24 and 25.
All in all, the stakes will remain high for the near future.
Are there solutions to the water crisis? Coming up, we're exploring how developers and cities are trying to prevent being dried up. Texas is facing a crisis never seen before. Across the state, water is growing scarce. Meanwhile, the climate is changing. Millions of people are moving here, and industries that need water to thrive are planting roots. KXAN, in partnership with political website The Hill, is taking a closer look at how these issues are impacting your life. I'm meteorologist David Yeomans. Today we're exploring all the ways the water crisis is affecting your life. For instance, developers are having to get creative to deal with the water crisis. Eric Henriksen takes a closer look at Mirasol Springs, a new conservation-scale development in Hayes County, and their plans to conserve water. Also, why a nearby landowner is worried that those plans could leave him dried up.
In eastern Hayes County, 1,400 acres of untouched land will soon be the site of Mirasol Springs. It'll feature a hotel and dozens of homes.
We've seen the proposal for the development, and it has some really incredible stuff.
Catherine Romans with the Hill Country Alliance says when planning for the community, water use is essential.
How can we think about how each new development that we see in our region minimizes its footprint on water to the extent possible?
Jim Truitt, director of Mirasol Capital, the group behind the development, told KXAN in a statement, "Our team recognizes the importance of this critical resource and the responsibility of designing a proactive water management system that will serve as a model for development in the Texas Hill Country." An exclusive look at their plans revealed 100% rainwater capture on all rooftops, using treated wastewater for irrigation, and limits on impervious cover, like roads and rooftops.
We are here to encourage more of that good water conservation focus.
The developer estimates that they will use around 80,000 gallons of water per day, the majority of which they hope to draw from the nearby Pedernales River.
But the Pedernales, in its current state and not flowing.
Lou Adams, owner of the nearby Roy Creek Canyon Reserve, worries the development will have to rely on groundwater.
We don't know how the springs can survive or this canyon will survive with that volume of water being drawn from the aquifer.
The LCRA, which manages the Pedernales River, can suspend water contracts during a drought. If they can't pull from the Pedernales, the development will need to use well water.
In some cases, you may see each gallon coming out of the well as having a 1-to-1 impact on the nearest spring.
KXAN has spoken to several hydrologists who say this would be the case for the springs surrounding Roy Creek.
What Mirasol decides to do will have a severe effect not only on this canyon, but could have effects on the neighbors and the watershed that they depend on.
Jim Truitt tells KXAN he hopes the reclaimed water and harvested rainwater will help reduce the need for groundwater drawn from the wells. In Hayes County, Eric Henriksen, KXAN News.
Jacob's Well, one of the most popular destinations for Central Texans during the summer, is also feeling the impact of the water crisis. This summer, water in the well stopped flowing entirely for the first time in decades. Nabil Ramadna explores why experts are worried it may dry up completely.
The first thing you'll hear at Jacob's Well in Wimberley, Texas, is the splash from visitors jumping in.
I'm glad I brought my noodle today.
Diane Stewart visiting for the first time.
It's so refreshing. I mean, I couldn't believe that I actually did it.
It's easy to see what draws in the crowds to this majestic place in the Texas Hill Country.
To me, almost a sacred place.
That's why local conservationist David Baker.
2000 was the first time that the well stopped in known history.
And Jay Taylor with Hayes County Parks Department.
Was getting to the point where it was very stagnant and the water level was dropping almost daily.
Are working to raise awareness about the spring and what factors could cause it to disappear.
Drought, climate change, overpumping of the aquifer.
With more people moving to the area, pumping could become a bigger issue.
We've seen tremendous growth in this Wood Creek North area, and when they pump up there, it's a 1-to-1 ratio for what the decrease in flow here at the well.
You know, we've had threats to groundwater, both from our environment through droughts and also from threats for overpumping. And you put those two things together, it is likely that this well would go dry.
That would have a devastating impact on the community, says Hayes County Commissioner Lon Shell.
Cypress Creek, which runs through Wimberley and into the Blanco River, is an economic driver for this area. Wimberley relies on sales tax. They don't have property tax, so all of those tourism dollars go straight back into the economy here.
Blake says we have to do more to conserve these Texas treasures.
All these places are just, they're so special.
Some homeowners are finding creative ways to ensure they have water in the near future, including building extra storage. KXAN's Sarah Alshe explains to us rainwater harvesting and why it's getting a lot of attention.
From sky to faucet, more and more Central Texans are turning to rainwater harvesting.
Good.
Homeowners like David Walsh.
It got up to about, right around here when it rained the other day.
Walsh installed this rainwater tank about 7 months ago. He says the pump for his well stopped working and he didn't want to dig another one.
There's so much development that, a lot of the aquifers are now going dry.
So he chose rainwater harvesting instead.
Well, the rain comes off of the roof into the gutters. It comes down these downspouts. And as long as the tank level is lower than the downspouts, the water will go from the downspouts into the top of the tank by gravity.
It's a process Ron Van Sickle is an expert at after starting his business, Harvested Rain Solutions. He says the water goes through several filters and is ready for use. And this year, Van Sickle says the number of calls has doubled compared to last.
Where we would normally have a few calls a week, we're getting a few calls a day.
He says more wells are drying up and people don't want to wait for the aquifers to recharge. These rainwater tanks hold thousands of gallons of water, and when they're full, Van Sickle says they could last up to 10 months.
We had several examples last week where folks collected enough water to go for 3 or 4 more months.
The only issue right now is getting rain in them.
Doing rain dances and everything else, trying to get it to rain.
But he says when the rain does come, it's nice knowing it's going directly into his tank for him and his family to use.
Wait for all rain, and it's coming.
Sarah Alshah, KXAN News.
As mentioned, rainwater harvesting is all dependent on getting enough rain to fill the tanks. So while rain is scarce at the moment, homeowners like Walsh say they are having some of their water shipped in. While we've seen a lot more rain in the past few weeks than we have in months, it'll take a lot more than that to recover from the drought. And as climate change worsens, droughts like the one this past summer are expected to occur more frequently and be more severe. So what can cities do? KXAN's Grace Reeder explains how Austin is trying to plan for the future.
If this were a hurricane, we will call it a Category 5.
That's how a former government climatologist and UT professor describes Texas's drought right now. That's why he and other researchers are working with local governments to make sure when it comes to water, there's a plan.
Texas is recognizing it is getting battered by both the extremes.
For the city of Austin, it's called Water Forward, and it looks at the next century.
The idea for Water Forward came out of the last drought that we experienced from 2000 to 2016. We learned a lot from that drought.
The plan accounts for Austin's rapid growth, and while many water plans in Texas disregard climate change, the city of Austin's does not.
Our region will continue to see droughts, and the future droughts will be more severe.
Earlier this year, Austin Water unveiled a pilot black water system at one of its buildings. It allows them to both filter rainwater to be used for outdoor landscaping and also filter wastewater so it can be reused in urinals and toilets.
We are anticipating that this building will be able to offset 75% of its potable water demand by using these non-potable supplies.
In 2010, Austin City Council directed Austin Water to cut down water usage. Roughly a decade later, Austin Water's total water pumpage fell to the lowest level in 2 decades.
If you plan for it, we are going to weather this one out as well.
Grace Reeder, KXAN News.
Starting in December 2023, all large developments in Austin will have to use a water reuse system. The city's pilot reuse system saves tens of thousands of gallons of drinking water every day. Austin is also switching to smart water meters. Crews are converting about 5,000 meters every week. Austin Water says the new meters come with usage alerts. It estimates these alerts have helped save 33 million gallons. School districts are also finding ways to conserve water. In Wimberley ISD, one school has found a way to reuse hundreds of thousands of gallons, and the idea could one day be used in buildings and homes all around us. Nabil Ramadna shows us just what the school is doing.
As traffic flows through downtown Wimberley, the water in Cypress Creek has come to a stop. Brittany Downing lives in the Hill Country.
Right now, there's absolutely nothing.
And she's not the only one who's noticed what's happening.
Cypress Creek should have water in it.
Robin Gary with the Watershed Association says if changes aren't made to conserve water, this could be a common sight.
This is the result of drought and groundwater pumping.
Blue Hole Primary School is working to save water.
So the more water we can save, the more it extends our water supply.
A walk on campus and you'll notice large water tanks.
So there's two 200,000-gallon tanks.
The school collects rainwater through various pipes, both inside,
Even a sprinkle and you'll start to see the waterfall.
and outside, which is then used for plumbing and irrigation.
That's showing the water level.
Water from the AC is collected as well.
There's 84 units on the roof that can collect about 1,300 gallons of AC condensate alone every week.
Gary says the school is saving hundreds of thousands of gallons of water, but right now it's hard to tell exactly just how much. She says future schools could have a public dashboard.
An add-on to the school would be showing how much water is harvested and how much is reused.
This is just one school, but Gary says if more businesses and homes join in too, we could be saving a lot of water. Nabil Ramadna, KXAN News.
When we return, we'll explore the way the water crisis has impacted farmers and the solutions they have found to survive. Welcome back to this special presentation, Dried Up. The drought has taken a particular toll on Texas rice farmers. Lake levels dropped during the dry conditions, triggering restrictions on the amount of water available for their crops. Jayla Washington takes a closer look at the restrictions and the effect on rice farmers.
It is just one step at a time for rice farmer Tim Gertson near the Houston area. That's his mentality, because you never know what a day out on the fields will bring.
As droughts worsen and get more intense, the consequences for rice farming starts to be more of demand on that natural resource, on water.
The Lower Colorado River Authority, or LCRA, cut farmers in its supply areas off this season on July 1st. It's simply following its water management plan to help with the preservation of water.
What happens when we get cut off for our second crop water is we're unable to grow the portion of our crop that we can grow the most efficiently and the most profitable. The consequence to me personally is around the tune of $150,000 to $200,000 in lost profit.
So as you can see, they are chopping down their first crop of rice, which is in fairly good condition from what my friend Ralph here tells me. But still, this season there has not been enough rain and there's just not enough water.
Well, this is second crop rice that's growing right now, but this field doesn't have any water for second crop, so this is gonna die.
Now, luckily for Gertson, he does get some of his water from a well on his property to help grow crops, but that's not always enough to get the job done, and it isn't something that's sustainable for all farmers since building a well is so expensive. Now, as Gertson tries to figure out how to use less water to grow his crop, he grapples with the reality that there are other things that will make his job much harder.
We don't have extra water. We're already having to fight over it. To bring new businesses into a state that's already struggling, I think is really irresponsible.
Rice farmers aren't the only ones being impacted by the water crisis. Pecan sellers are having to turn to last year's crop to make up for a shortage this year. Curtis Jackson explores how Texans are surviving during a dry year.
My dad always says we're one day closer to a rain.
Words that Montz has lived by since her dad opened the pecan shed back in the early 90s. She says this crop will help make up for the lack of rain we've received this past year that will affect the upcoming harvest.
This past crop year was great. It was a bumper crop for the area. We typically have those every 3 years if Mother Nature cooperates with us. So it was a really big year anyways.
Montz says although this upcoming crop would be low, that downtime can go a long way.
We know we'll have crops for the store. You know, kind of what happens with us is when we have good years and big years, we're able to reinvest into the business. We're able to upgrade our equipment. We're able to plant more trees. We're able to buy more land to plant trees.
And without adequate watering for those trees, not only could they produce smaller, weaker pecans, they could lose them completely.
Especially coming up here in these next few weeks, if we don't see a good amount of rain, a lot of people might see the trees just dropping the pecans that they have already still in that green hole. It's kind of a way for a tree to like save itself. It'll just go ahead and drop off the crop.
And no rain means having to water the trees more and increases the upkeep for the orchard, which Montz says isn't cheap, especially in these times.
It's just like everybody else. The cost of diesel has gone up so high, the cost of all our fertilizers and things have quadrupled, so that's actually hurting us more than the drought.
Montz says this is nothing new, seeing as how they've gotten through tornadoes, droughts, pests, as well as other problems, but says with the community support the orchard has received in the past 40 years, she's hopeful they'll bounce back.
While recent rain helped make a dent in our drought, it could spell bad news for toxic algae in some waterways. Toxic blue-green algae blooms have been reported in several bodies of water in central Texas since 2019, and they're linked to the deaths of several dogs. Fertilizer from nearby farms and landscaping can actually make the algae worse. Blooms can feed off new clay, silt, and mud, while rain can actually help reduce the algae.
You know, we got hammered pretty good and Lady Bird Lake got hit hard. You know, so we'll discuss, you know, what this means in terms of the frequency of our treatments, the timing of our treatments.
Austin workers have been treating waterways to prevent algae growth since last summer. Now, an in-depth look at how the drought and shrinking water supplies are affecting feed. While recent rains have offered some relief, ranchers are saying it's not enough. Mercedes Hernandez explores how the drought has impacted the area's crops.
We had a great year last year. Can't complain at all. This year,
for the birds.
After a crippling dry growing season, farmer and rancher Deborah Haida says recent rain has been a relief.
We're just grinning like ear to ear, like this is fantastic.
While the rain is welcome, Haida says this latest downpour is too late to save some of her crops.
Our cotton, we won't even have to strip. It didn't bloom, it didn't get rain.
County Ag Extension Agent Kate Whitney says she's noticed similar stunted patterns in other plants.
Been starting to see over the last few weeks trees that are either going dormant or maybe even dying.
Haida says the drought combined with inflation has also led to ranchers selling off cattle, an issue that could have a ripple effect.
It's going to be a 3-year hit on this industry. It's when you sell off mamas, babies, pregnant mamas, you can't get those back into the market. Beef could get more expensive.
Despite these challenges, Haida says she's optimistic that more rain will come and maybe next season will be better.
Can't get in the doom and gloom of the drought. It'll really take you down in this industry. Having been through them before, we think if you can get a 2-inch rain in August, that's a great sign.
Coming up, we'll explore what state lawmakers are doing to address the water crisis. The recent drought has left those who depend on wells this summer nervous. State lawmakers at the Capitol weighed in on how the state can better address our water supply in the long run for all Texans. KXAN's Maggie Glenn reports.
Kathy Coyle and her husband,
Chickens! Anybody got me any eggs today?
and their 10 chickens and 3 dogs have depended on their well for water since they moved in.
We've been here 11 years and we've never had a problem.
Tuesday, the well went dry for the first time.
It's empty.
They have to get a water delivery to refill their tank, relying on their nearby in-laws for now.
We should go twice a week over their house to shower and to wash hair and laundry and get potable water.
Kathy's hoping lawmakers do something to help, whether that be curbing development or having a plan to distribute water to neighbors like her.
They just put in a cement plant over here that uses an incredible amount of water on a daily basis.
Jennifer Walker with the National Wildlife Federation is asking lawmakers to consider fixing existing systems to utilize water that's going to waste now. Their study showed utilities in Texas lost 572,000 acre-feet of water in 2020 alone.
It's equal to the 2020 water demand of the cities of Austin, Fort Worth, El Paso, Lubbock, and Laredo combined.
The Federation projects if the state did update decades-old piping, we could be saving more than half of that water.
Investing in programs like acoustic leak detection and repair, small and large meter replacements so that we're measuring water accurately, advanced pressure management.
With this summer's drought and more extreme conditions expected with climate change, Walker says she's heard plenty of stories like Kathy's just this summer, showing the need to address our water supply now.
I can't believe we ran out of water.
Thank you for joining us in this special look at all the ways the water crisis is impacting all of us who live here. I'm David Yeomans.